Ken for Bruno Unframed believes highly in playing it safe.
Okay, I'm alone. No need for a mask.
Well, welcome to part 2 of
My 2-year anniversary in Chiang Mai, Thailand. I currently have a diseased upper lip. Yeah, I have a cold sore on my upper lip. I've been in denial for a week or so, but you know what? I'll be honest with you guys. I have a cold sore. You know what? I don't like the sound of cold sore. It sounds kind of too clinical and too gross and stuff. I have herpes on my mouth. Like I said, this is part 2 of my 2-part series on me being back in Thailand for 2 years. Part 1, link above, covers the first couple days before I left for Thailand and like my year being back here and how that's gone, just like a general rundown leading up to part 2, which is March of 2020, the pandemic. I won't have as many stills and videos from that time period, like especially during lockdown, because there wasn't a whole lot of stuff to take pictures of. I was basically locked in a 32 square meter apartment for 4 months, not doing a whole lot. So it was just kind of a strange time for myself and for many people. So let's start with the bombshell. The morning of March 12th, 2020, I received a message from my sister telling me to call her, and I kind of knew something was up, so I called her and she let me know that my best friend Dale had passed away, has passed away. And you know, to be honest, I wasn't really surprised, because I knew he had some failing health, but it's not a phone call you want to get, and it's still a surprise. I was in shock for a couple months. I still feel like I'm in shock. Every now and then I'm kind of like, wow, I can't believe my best friend Dale is dead. I was so far away from him, but still I felt his presence with me of all times. I still feel his presence, but it's just all memory now. So the lockdown happened like a week later. Not only did I lose my dear friend, it's a bird. So a little over a week after finding out about my friend passing away, lockdown happened. So not only did I have this thing stewing in my head, one of my best friends dying, but I was also just kind of like locked away in this room for a couple of months, away from my support group, you know, in Thailand, my friends and family, my girlfriend, and you know, I was able to, you know, video chat and voice chat with people back in America, in Thailand, but you know, there's something to that person-to-person touch or just energy that I was lacking and I really needed at that time. As for the lockdown and the pandemic, I honestly thought civilization was about to end. I thought this was it for us. And against my better judgment, I tapered off towards the end of it because this just drove me nuts. But I was watching a lot of news reports, a lot of contradictory information from, you know, so-called experts saying do this, then next week don't do this, or this matters. Oh yeah, now it doesn't matter. It's just a lot of stuff going on in my head. I was worried about my loved ones, you know, back in America and in Thailand. My sister, niece, and girlfriend, they're nurses, so I was really worried about them big time. You know, and I have friends and family who are older, who have health issues. So I felt very helpless and very trapped in this apartment, just with my thoughts bouncing around in my head. It was kind of a lot. It just felt like a terrible nightmare is upon us. Like I said, I kept in contact with, you know, people back home and people here even more so than before. Make sure they're okay, and even to this day, you know, we still check in on each other. I think it just kind of like put things in perspective on, you know, your loved ones, not to just assume that everything's okay. It's knock on wood, there's no wood around here, but everyone's okay. I've known a couple people who've had the illness, and they got through it all right. But you know, I'm sure there's a lot more people I know who've had it. It's just not everyone's being tested. During that time and soon after lockdown, my YouTube output slowed down a lot. You know, I didn't want to make any like panicky videos or any conspiracy videos or any, you know, kind of like depressing type videos, or I didn't want to make goofy videos about, you know, just kind of like acting like nothing was going on. Oh yeah, it's all good type videos. You know, I didn't really feel like putting too much content out during that time because my feelings were so up and down that, yeah, I didn't want to make that many videos. I did stay very busy during that time. I was teaching online. Thank goodness I was teaching online. It was a good source of income, and it was nice talking to another person. And about that, I sometimes teach for an American company online, and the students are adults, usually working professionals in Asia, South America, the EU, all over the world. Some of the lessons were really interesting. They got pretty cathartic. A couple of students, they cried during a lesson because, you know, they're locked down, they weren't working, and, you know, back in their office, they're working online, and they're away from their families, and yeah, I kept it together. So these are speaking lessons. So it was interesting while we're sitting there. I mean, I would express my fears and stuff. I, you know, never cried or anything like that, but I did express some fears and concerns. But I tried to stay positive because, you know, but the class is a spoken English type class. So it was within the professional setting for us to talk about, you know, what was happening in the world. And also at the same time, I remember this one lady, she was pretty scared and upset, and it was kind of funny. We started laughing because like halfway through it, she's like kind of like just butchering her English, and I corrected her. And we both started laughing. I was like, "Oh, sorry." She's like, "No, thank you." She's like, "You make me feel better, and I am here to improve my English too. So it's nice talking to you, but I also appreciate you correcting my English." So as I mentioned in part one of this video, that the air quality, the pollution was really bad in Chiang Mai. So I wasn't able to spend a whole lot of time, you know, going outside for walks or riding my bicycle. So yeah, I spent a lot of time indoors during that whole period. So I was able to go out to 7-Elevens, get foods, have picnics in abandoned parking lots. Above is another link for one of my videos during lockdown, me socially distancing myself and being a creep in an abandoned parking lot. I think I was eating somtam or sushi, or I don't know what I was eating, and I think I was drinking a beer. And during lockdown, I didn't drink too many beers or any kind of alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant. It makes me depressed. I wasn't the happiest during that time, so I didn't drink much. Things started opening up in late May, and it seemed like a dream, like a really strange dream, like seeing people sitting at restaurants and at pubs, and it was kind of nice not having to go and, you know, pick up food, bring it home, and, you know, have food delivered to me from Food Panda or Grab. But unfortunately, I still wasn't able to get a bus ticket to see my girlfriend in Blair. The seats were pretty much, as explained to me, they're reserved for locals only. But after 4 months, I was finally reunited with my girlfriend. It was great. I made a video about that too. I made a couple of videos about that. Down below, I'm going to put in the description like some of the links that I've kind of referenced during this video, or the time frame that I'm talking about in this video. By June, things really started opening up, and I was able to get carpal tunnel surgery on my right hand. Link above. I'm going to say things went well because I didn't wake up with my left foot on my right arm. Now in October, things have really opened up. Except for a lot of businesses, unfortunately, have gone out of business, and many of the tourist areas are pretty dead right now. But I live in a Thai area, and it pretty much seems like nothing has happened except for you'll see like signs about wearing a mask and hand sanitizer. And yeah, you do see, when you go into certain stores, you do have to wear a mask. But I usually wear a mask when I go into stores anyhow. Like I was saying about the tourist areas, when I go and see my friend Tomkan, it's pretty bad in that area because it caters to foreigners. It's kind of a ghost town. You see a lot more homeless people or just people with nothing to do. It's pretty depressing. I feel really lucky being in Thailand. I mean, things are really opened up now, like I said. And yeah, I saw live music a couple weeks ago. I made a video about it. In many countries, numbers are still up. I have friends back in America who love music. They haven't seen a live show since February. So yeah, I feel pretty fortunate. Some takeaways of my past 2 years being back in Thailand. Overall, I'm happy I came back. I love Chiang Mai. In part 1 of this series, I talk about, some of the reasons why I came back to Thailand after being away for how many years? 9 years. I'm able to, still keep in contact with friends and family. I miss them too much, but I'm able to, keep in contact. Thank goodness for the internet. But, I've carved out a decent life for myself here. I'm able to work locally. I'm able to work online. I have a nice girlfriend. I have friends, both old and new, and the routine that I carved out here is pretty agreeable with my personality. My takeaway from lockdown, from a financial standpoint, it's good to have a couple of streams of income. I mean, we've seen how fragile our system is, and it's good to kind of have a couple of wells to go to for money, and also try to save for a rainy day. Emotionally, it's a pretty tough experience. I'd say my takeaway is kind of similar to my money takeaway about having, different streams of income. I think it's important to have different coping mechanisms, ways to deal with the stresses of life. And it's important to get your mental health in order before something bad happens. So basically, don't learn how to swim before the ship starts sinking. You should know how to swim. Then if the ship goes down, you can jump in the water till you can swim to some safety. So take care of yourself mentally, because you never know what's coming up. Because it's harder to take care of yourself mentally when something like a lockdown or a sudden death or just some kind of hardship comes up. So I've talked about this in other videos, but I rely heavily on some of the tools I learned in therapy, some of the coping mechanisms, also meditation. I talk a lot about meditation. Also breathing and relaxation techniques. Those are beautiful things, and they definitely came in handy during lockdown. Also, I relied on my ability to figure out, okay, what can I change about a situation? And if it's something that I felt like I couldn't change, how to accept it. I mean, I talked that I'm a Buddhist, but back a year ago, I didn't really believe, I believed it was possible that there's a higher being. Now it just seems, I seem very powerless now in certain situations, in many situations. So I think, it could just be all chance, could be science, but I don't know, just upon reflection and stuff, I feel that there's a higher being, that there's a purpose to things. And it may not seem apparent, but in my heart, I feel that one of the things I learned from this whole situation is that there are reasons for everything, and sometimes it's good just to surrender to what's happening. I feel that there's like a presence of God or something. And I feel kind of a loving presence too, which is okay. I didn't expect to go here, but like there was times when I was pretty down. It's just all of a sudden, just something uplifted me, and I felt that throughout my life. But I really felt it during this lockdown. One thing that helped me kind of like feel that, acceptance and kind of a big world picture was, I'd put my N95 mask on. And I would step outside, or I'd look out my window at the orange, polluted, but yet beautiful sky. And I felt how small I am on my anthill on this little plot of earth in northern Thailand. And then I thought about how small the earth is in the solar system, and how small the solar system is in the galaxy, and how small the galaxy is in this vast universe. So I've been very humbled by this pandemic. Financially and emotionally, I feel very humbled. I feel very fortunate. So I don't know, it's just kind of one of my takeaways from I don't know, it's just become a very I've just become, I don't know, like I said it already, but I'm gonna say it again. I've become very humble from 2020 has been a humbling experience. Okay, with that being said, you know, kind of like seeing the big picture and all that, living in a 32 square meter apartment, I say screw that. So literally like 10 days, I'm going to be moving to a bigger place, a 2-bedroom. I'll have an office, I'll have a balcony, be able to look out amongst green, and I don't know. So I hope that doesn't contradict, but practically we live in a material world. So practically it's good that I had this worldview and humbleness and all that, but yeah, I learned that another takeaway is I need a bigger living space. Because when I first moved in this place, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm never home. I'm always out and about. Well, during lockdown, I've become a homebody. And actually, after lockdown, I've become more of a homebody. It might just be the nature of my work. But I like hanging out at home. And I need a bigger spot to hang out. All right, well, I hope this video gives you some insight of what's going on in me noggin here. I've always been a reflective person ever since I was a kid, so I'm not like sitting there like being on a high horse because, you know, like, oh, people are, you know, a couple hundred people are listening to me right now, but I don't know, it's an interesting time we live in. This is just what's going on in my head. You know what? Please leave a comment down below. Let me know how you're doing. Like I said, I know some countries are still struggling. And people are still locked down. I hope you're doing well. I hope these videos help. I hope you're, you know, eating well, sleeping well, and all that good stuff. And people who are out and about now, who aren't locked down, just let me know how lockdown was for you and how is it post-lockdown. Okay, I humbly ask everybody, please subscribe, click that bell, get notified for new content, baby. If you want to contact me, send me a direct message on Instagram. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. Everybody who watches till the end of my videos, you know I mean this. I mean this from my heart. No matter who you are or where you are, peace.